As they were slowly starving, suffering internal bleeding from the onset of scurvy, and poisoned from years of lead exposure, it would have been day after day of agony to pull the boats they needed to live. In April of 1848, it must have been clear to the expedition that they had no choice. Their food was due to run out that summer, and even those estimates had assumed that the 16,000 cans would all be edible. Even with rationing, the end of their supplies was approaching, and with the seas frozen, they would have to walk. So on the 25th of April, they returned to King William Island and left another letter by writing in the margins of the first. It said that Sir John Franklin was dead, along with 9 officers and 15 crew in total. It also stated that the ships had been deserted on the 22nd, and 105 survivors under Crozier would attempt to walk 240 kilometers or 150 miles to Backfish River, also known as Back River. Then once they were there, they would try to row to the nearest trading station. So after a year and 7 months of unending winter, the crew finally left, and by then, the situation was desperate. Many of them were unable to handle the physical strain due to being weak, sick, and malnourished from years and living in such horrible conditions. Over 20 bodies from the Erebus were found on the coast of King William Island at a series of camps where they had no choice but to leave the dying behind. It would have been bad enough if it was just a walk, but it wasn't. The closest trading post was still hundreds of kilometers upriver, so the men had to bring the ship's boats with them. These were massive rowing vessels, loaded with as many supplies as each could carry. Each one of these was roughly 3,600 kilograms or 8,000 pounds. Then, with the ice floes piling up against one another in the wind, freezing in uneven shapes, and King William Island being rough limestone gravel, putting the boats onto sledges was the only option. So as they were slowly starving, suffering internal bleeding from the onset of scurvy, and poisoned from years of lead exposure, it would have been day after day of agony to pull the boats they needed to live.